Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome back to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach.
And I'm Pepper.
And today we're going to give our first impressions on Clip Cut Parks.
Yes, this is one of the, I guess now we call them blank and blank games, because usually it's a blank and write, but this is actually a blank and cut. So now it has to be blank and blank games. Or verb and verb.
Verb and verb. Yes, this is something different than the other ones. Usually it's flip a card and write something down, or else roll some dice and then write something down based on that. It's typically what we've seen. And some of them have gotten a little more complex than that as well. But this is the first one that I've seen that is clip and cut. Although is that the same thing?
Is it the same?
It's really a roll and cut.
It's a roll and cut. It's not clip and cut game. It doesn't say, does it? I don't know if it actually says. It's just
I guess I just
parks.
assumed it was a clip and cut because it says Clip Cut Parks.
You would think, but it is a roll and cut game.
Mm-hmm. But it's definitely something different than what I'd normally seen. But I didn't know too much about this one. I think I had maybe heard of it a few times, but this was one you ended up getting
Michaela for Christmas, and it was one that I didn't know much of either. But I think you can probably just look at the cover and know what the game is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it doesn't look like a super heavy Euro type game.
No.
It's pretty much you're rolling a die and cutting a piece of paper to get polyomino shapes, which I know she likes blank and blank games, blank and right, whatever. And I think she's a fan of polyomino games as well, and saw this was decently priced and small, quick game. So, and Renegade Game Studios as well, which we have a lot of their games. So, I didn't put much thought. Well, I put a lot of thought into the gift, Michaela. But this felt like, sure, why not?
Mm-hmm. It seemed different. So going into it, I didn't have too high of expectations or any major expectations because I didn't really know what it was about or what to expect. But like you said, I think a lot of the verb and verb games. Maybe not a lot, but a decent amount of them seem to use polyomino, I think.
It feels like it works with that genre.
Yeah, so I feel like that's something they typically do, so that's not too different from the other ones, but I thought it'd be interesting to see how, actually cutting this will work out or how it'll feel, strategy-wise and whatnot.
Yeah. We played it. I felt the same way as you going into it, and I think it actually did feel a little more different from the rest than I thought it would. I would kind of compare this to Silver and Gold, if you played that, where you kind of have polyomino shapes and you're trying to fill your little island cards, which is pretty much what you're doing here, except in that game it's designated shapes for the polyominoes, and this one you kind of roll a die and it tells you what length of cuts you get to make, like make two cuts, so you'd cut twice in this direction, twice in that direction, so you can cut out your very own custom polyomino shapes from your sheet of paper, which I thought was really cool. I don't know if I've seen any game where you actually create the shapes. I just thought that was very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought that was interesting as well, being able to try to set yourself up to make the specific shapes, and then some of them have to be on certain spots depending on if they have a symbol on them or if there's a specific land type that has to go on them. I did find that interesting too. You kind of are looking around the sheet to see if there's a specific piece that kind of fits into what you're trying to fulfill just right. I do also like the filling out the card type feel, like the Silver and Gold. I really like how that mechanism works, and it works very similarly because you're working on two at a time and then adding one. I thought, I would say that that's probably the closest we have to what this game is. I think.
But yeah, overall, first impression rating of blank and blank game, I'd say this is probably an 8. I really enjoyed it. It felt different, felt unique, and I think a good addition to the genre.
Interesting. I'm a bit lower on this one. I would probably give it a 6 or a 5.5. It wasn't really, I don't know, there wasn't really anything about it that made me want to come back. I was kind of hoping for, because it was so different. Because you're cutting it, I was like, oh, this feels like something that I haven't seen in any other game, so it should feel like something to make me want to come back to this game. But I just didn't really have that feeling afterwards. I wasn't like, oh, that's cool, I want to try that again. And I guess still a couple days later, I still haven't been like, oh, I really want to get back to this one. I don't know if it was probably just a combination of, so like one of the things I like better about like Silver and Gold is that there's one card that's taken out, so you don't know every card, but if you can kind of remember, you kind of know what
out and
what can come up. Whereas this die, it could just be, it could end up just being the same over and over.
Yeah.
Which you have to be ready for as well. But
it's not that bad, I wouldn't say, because a lot of the things when you need a cut, you can pretty much, a lot of times, cut even larger. So if you need a 2 cut, you can just make a 3 or 4 cut if you end up rolling that, which I had to do sometimes, and it didn't really hurt. So I felt like my plans weren't really just up in the air based on the die.
Yeah, I don't think it was like that crazy. It wasn't like I felt like, oh my gosh, I have no control at all.
There's just a little less. You can't completely set your plan in place.
Right, and then the actual completing of the cards, I likened. Now that you compared it to Silver and Gold, now that's all I can think about, and that's why originally I was thinking a 6, but then after you said that, I was like, that probably actually makes it like maybe slightly lower even, because I also like in Silver and Gold where after you complete a card, you get to kind of draft a card versus one of like a few options, versus at the beginning of the game, you just get a set of cards. And I feel like, I don't know, I guess you were the one that set up, were those just random?
Those are random cards as well.
Okay. Because, I just felt like they weren't all the same, maybe. They didn't feel all the same. Like, your bonuses let you cut extra spots. And my bonuses kind of felt like they were a waste because they helped me fill in certain areas.
Which
so maybe
ended up not needing. So
right.
I mean, if you did need it, that could make it a lot easier. But
I did use one of them, which was nice. But I didn't feel like it was that special completing it. I feel like if you're going to get a bonus, it should feel special.
Yeah, true.
But I'm guessing, and that was my experience, but I'm guessing you got like those extra cuts, which I think would have felt a lot better.
Yes.
And I only had one that was a 1 cut. All my other ones were those bonuses.
Yeah, though that did
for spaces. So you wouldn't have to match up a space type or whatever.
Yeah, that it did feel pretty great, I would say, because that helped me like complete 2 cards at once, which won the game. Which I think you might also not be a fan of, just first to complete 5 cards. I don't know. Might prefer kind of more a scoring, as in Silver and Gold. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying this is like an 8, like top tier game all time, but just for a first impression as a blank and blank game, this one gave me everything I needed from that.
I guess after we played it, were you wanting to play it again, or have you thought about it? Okay.
Yeah,
I was just curious because I just know it was one that I was hoping that I'm like, oh, this is unique.
Luckily there is a solo variant in the back here.
Yeah, I think you could definitely like this one. I don't think that it's a bad game. I just don't know. It just doesn't seem like it's the game for me, maybe. But then, too, like, recently I've played Hadrian's Wall, and that's a lot heavier of a flip and right type game. And I've really, really had a good time with that one. So it's kind of maybe a little unfair for some of these other ones. And just because I really do love Silver and Gold so much, that also makes it, I've already. I feel
didn't know you loved Silver and Gold this much.
I
My
do
gosh.
like it quite a bit, and I think that's just what makes it hard because it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I need something that's going to top that and make me want to play that.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they're a lot of them are a little samey.
Yeah.
Or I mean, they have similar feels, and I think it's just easier in my mind to compare those. Whereas even if like some of
yeah.
the larger games have some similarities, sometimes they still can bring their own unique taste to things.
Yeah.
And I feel like this doesn't have enough time to try to do that. Like when you're looking for a shorter one, it's just I don't know. You have to show your stuff right away, or else it just kind of can fall flat type thing. But yeah. So,
I don't feel that way. I think this is a great one. I would recommend picking it up if you want a smaller blank
No.
and blank game.
No, I think people are going to like this
Yeah.
one. I think it's just one that isn't for me. But then there's also an advanced variant, so I'd be a little more interested to see how that works. Maybe we played.
yeah.
I don't know that it'll give me a different feel.
Yeah, I don't think
But-
so. I think it just adds. You can play a longer game
More
with
bridges.
more cards, and you can play with certain cards that are harder to fill.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know that it'll make me like it more, but I think I would still play it if people wanted to play it because it's not a long game and it's not like it's a. I don't feel like it's like a broken game or anything where it's like, oh, this doesn't work at all type thing. I think it's still definitely a very playable game. It's going to be really fun for some people. I could even see it being maybe some people's favorite blank and write game too.
Yeah.
Or you're not writing.
Blank and blank.
Blank and blank game. So yeah.
Verb and blank.
Yes. Well, maybe sometime you'll make a video on it so then they can maybe see
Yes.
how it's played and see if it's something that they would be interested in. or
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise, definitely if it sounds interesting to you, definitely go check it out. I mean, Pepper's
We'll have to-
Pepper's liking it.
We'll have to rank all the blank and blank. Ranking
boy.
the blanking and blank.
Oh boy,
Someday. Soon.
someday once we get 10 of
Yes.
them. But yeah, that is Clip Cut Parks. If you've made it this far and liked the video, please give us a thumbs up. Otherwise, if you want to see future videos on other first impressions or unboxings or playthroughs or top 10s, feel free to subscribe. But otherwise, we hope to see you on the next one. And as always, don't forget to
Keep on nibbling.
honor content.